Hey, welcome to my story. Let me tell you where we're at right now in the story. Story of my life, really. You know, for the past decade, more than a decade, I have been practicing and teaching something called solution-focused brief therapy. And recently, I heard myself say something on a webinar about solution-focused brief therapy that, as embarrassing as this is to admit, I heard myself say something that made me instantaneously feel like the biggest hypocrite and fraud in the world. It made me feel like an absolute ass. And it made me realize I needed to change my life, and I needed to change my life immediately. So let me tell you what I heard myself say that bothered me like to my core as soon as I said it. And every moment since then has been completely different. So, but I gotta take you back a bit for you to understand this and understand why where I'm standing right now is so significant. Like the building behind me, that's my gym, and I'm about to go work out. I'm gonna tell you why this is so important. So I am a bit overweight. I've actually been struggling with my weight kind of mentally for about 10 years or so. Historically, I tend to be a pretty in shape guy, like throughout my life. As a child, a teenager, even through my college years, I played a lot of sports, so I was always physically fit. There was a period of my late college life when I was done playing sports but still hadn't finished my degree. I gained a lot of weight. I saw a picture of myself. This is before, cell phones and everybody had 1,000 cameras all the time. I saw a picture of myself where I was significantly overweight and was so embarrassed. I lost weight then. That was really the only time in my life I needed to cut weight, lose weight. Then I went into private practice, so I stay in shape just like I normally do, work out, and I love to work out. I'm just that kind of guy. Years go by and I start graduate school, and I gained a little bit of weight in graduate school. Nothing concerning, nothing too much of an issue, literally like 10 pounds or so, no big deal. In fact, it was a type of kind of 10 pounds worth of weight that people said like looked good on me. Like they said like, oh, this is a good amount of weight, like this looks good on you. And then I went to get a PhD, so I stayed in graduate school for a bit longer, and gained a little bit more weight. Again, nothing too concerning, just a few more pounds. But where my life got really, really troubled, and what leads me to this unbelievable feeling of feeling like a fraud, this unbelievable feeling of feeling like a complete hypocrite. After graduate school, I went into private practice and opened a business. As most of you know who have any kind of business or in private practice, it's incredibly stressful. And I started thinking to myself, like, I'll get in shape once my business is settled and once I'm established. But as you know, in business, you never really feel settled. Like even when you're doing well and quite successful, you always feel unsettled because at any moment it could stop. Like in any moment, people could stop coming to visit you and whatever. And then I started writing books 10 years ago exactly, almost to the day, now that I think about it. 10 years ago, I wrote my first book, 2009. I wrote a book called The Art of Solution-Focused Therapy. And almost immediately, I started traveling around the world giving lectures about the solution-focused approach. And from that point to this one, I have been on the road. I travel several hundred thousand miles a year. I've been on every continent. I've been to over 30 countries. And what that has done to my physical fitness is completely destroyed it. And I've continued to think in my head, so when my life settles down, I'll get in shape. Problem is, I've gotten significantly out of shape, and I'm experiencing some health issues as a result of that. Nothing life-threatening. I don't need anybody worry about me or pray for me, but nothing like that. But I am experiencing some life and some health issues associated with this, and so that brings me to what I heard myself say on this webinar. So one of my good friends, who happens to be who I consider the best solution-focused brief therapist in the world, in fact, the best solution-focused brief therapist that ever lived, a guy by the name of Chris Iveson. Chris Iveson always talks about when we do this work, we have to remove conditions. So think about this. Like, forget about solution therapy for a second. When you have a goal, you can't really consider the barriers or the conditions that are preventing you from accomplishing that goal. You just have to get on with accomplishing the goal. So, for example, Chris was working with a client, and in this type of work, we ask about something we call the preferred future. And some of you watching this probably know about this, but just in case you don't, we ask about this thing called the preferred future, where we ask people to envision their life the day their goal has been accomplished. So Chris asked his client, who had come to Chris for some help with some work stuff, and he said he needed to be able to negotiate a big major, contract. And Chris said, suppose you woke up on a day when you had these abilities to negotiate this contract, what would you do? And Chris, or what would you notice? And the gentleman says, I would notice that I'm strong and concise and clear in my ideas and all these things. But anyway, as they're doing this description, Chris asked the guy, so what would you notice when you got to work? And Chris said, well, since it's such a great day, I'll notice that the first parking space right by the door will be available to me. And Chris said, no, because on this day of your preferred future, everything in the world stays the same, but you're different. Everything in the world stays the same, but you've been impacted in a positive way that helps your goals become more of a reality. So let's imagine that you pull into work on this day that you're different, but there's no parking spaces available except the one furthest away from the front door. How would you know then that you were still at your very best? And the point is, it's not like the world doesn't have to shift to help your goals become accomplished. Your mentality does. Like, your mentality has to shift. I heard Chris say that like 8 years ago, and I heard him say it. Chris and I are very close friends. We talk often, and been around the world teaching with Chris. And I've heard him say that 1,000 times. And what Chris is saying is the conditions are not the things that we have to change. It's us. It's your brain. It's your mentality. It's the way you think that has to change. And on a webinar recently, I was teaching this, and I explained this very concept to people. And even though it's the 1,000th time I've explained it, I felt like a jackass because I realized I'm not putting that principle into play. I realized that I'm not living the words I'm saying. And I can't tell you how hard that is to me. Like, if I'm gonna be this, I have to be this. If I'm going to teach this, I have to live this. If I'm gonna practice this, then I have to practice this. And I realized that my life is never gonna settle down. I'm gonna keep writing books. I'm gonna keep traveling and lecturing. I'm gonna keep running my therapy business. So if I don't figure out how to change me, in spite of the variables, whether they're changing or not changing, then I am violating the very tenets that I live my professional life with. I am violating the ideas that I've been teaching people, and that, my friends, is hypocritical. That, my friends, is fraudulent. Very loud engine behind me. And because I am not desirous of being a hypocrite nor a fraud, the very next day I came here. And I said to myself, I don't care if I travel or not. I don't care if I have a lot of clients or not. I don't care how stressed I am at work or not. I'm going to accomplish my desired outcome, which is returning my body to a state of physical fitness just so I can be healthy again. Just so I can be, seriously, no vanity, just so I can be reasonably healthy again. And I came right here. I've been doing this for a couple of weeks now, and already people are asking me, like, how are you doing it? What are you doing it? So I thought I would share my story, and that's what this video series is all about. It's all about my story. It's all about, solution-focused brief therapy is the most eloquent, wonderful thing that has come into my life. And I can tell you about clients and things I've done with clients. I can tell you about, professional success and all the rest of it. But up until now, what I can't tell you is how I've walked through that journey myself, in spite of difficult variables that are in my way. I have no idea why people think having loud engines like that is a good idea, but it's not. You hear that? It's terrible. What's wrong with that guy? But I can't tell you how I went about this journey. I can't tell you how I blocked out I can't tell you how how I've done the very thing I expect my clients to do. When my clients come to the office and they say something like, I really want to get along with my wife, but she's really, or my ex-wife, as we co-parent our children, but she's really difficult and we argue all the time. What I say to that client is, in essence, suppose she continues to be different. What would you notice about yourself that would let you know you're capable of getting along with her anyway? So I have to ask myself that same question. Suppose your life continues to be stressful and hectic. What would you notice about yourself that would let you know that you were different, and different in the type of way that led towards physical fitness? And that, my friends, is what this journey is about. Integrity, authenticity, realness. Because I haven't been real. And I didn't know it. I didn't know it. I've been a hypocrite. I've been a fraud. I've been a joke. And no more. So for right now, I'm going to show you what solution-focused brief therapy looks like in action. I'm going to show you what the details of a preferred future look like as you live them. And I'm going to show you what it looks like as the variables don't change, but you do. So come with me. Here we go. So here we go. I'm about to get it. This is my workout machine. This is the first thing I do right here. I hate this machine, but I'll see when I'm done working out. And after, this is what it looks like on my mission. Thank y'all for being a part of it, man. Thank y'all for following the journey. This is gonna be a fun ride, so stay tuned. Okay, so worked out. Told you guys a little bit of about my mission and what we're going to be doing and why we're doing it. But before I say goodnight and turn in, I just wanted to say something really quick. So, why am I doing this and documenting it, I guess? Several years ago, I started sharing videos on social media about solution-focused brief therapy. I'm very passionate about this work. It's my profession. It is something that I love. It has brought many highlights to my life, and many of the most significant relationships in my life have come through my work in the solution-focused field. But it's crazy. At the time when I started doing it, no one was sharing videos, and I mean now if you go on Facebook and YouTube, there are just hundreds and hundreds of videos about solution-focused brief therapy, and I started the first video blog 4 or 5 years ago, and a lot of people criticized me. They called me seeking attention and all these sorts of ridiculous things, which was crazy. I was only doing it because solution-focused brief therapy is a difficult approach to master, and I wanted to make it more accessible and easier for people to get a hold of. And I'm so proud now, when I see all of the people now, there's so many people that have, video trainings, and so many people have online courses and all these things that, I pioneered them. I've been doing them for years. And it makes me so happy because what I wanted to have happen is happening. That solution-focused brief therapy is a much more accessible approach now than it was back then. And even then, I couldn't understand why people were criticizing me. So I want to make sure that no one has that same criticism about this particular video series and why I'm doing it. Because to me, it's very obvious, but I want to make it super duper clear, is this is beyond just how to do therapy. This is how to inspire people. If you're going to be an effective psychotherapist, you have to be able to inspire people. It's a mandate. You got to be able to do it. You got to be able to inspire people. And this is also, this is about my life. This is about my health. This is about, it's also me having a realization that I've got to apply this work in a more serious way in my personal life. And I want to share it with you because if I can inspire one person to kind of take on this solution-focused lifestyle, if I can inspire one solution-focused person, one psychotherapist, one coach, one helper to have the same realization that I did and really apply these principles in a real way into their lives, then it'll be worth it. If I can inspire one person to achieve their desired outcome and take control of their life, regardless of the circumstances that have been getting in the way, it'll be worth it. If I can inspire one person, it'll be worth it. And that is what is driving me to share this journey with you, and why I want you to come along for this journey with me. So this is going to be a fun ride, man. I don't know what's going to come of it, but I'm in pursuit of a fitness goal. I'm in pursuit of professional goals, and I want you to come along with me so you see what it's like to live out your desired outcome, to actually see preferred future unfold. That's what this series is about. So good night. It's been a long day. It's really, really late. I need to go to bed, but thank you for coming along this journey. Thank you for watching episode number 1. And we're going to make this fun. We're going to make it exciting. We're going to make it interesting. But for right now, thank you for staying up in this video. I hope you enjoy episode 2, and stay hopeful.